Hi, I'm Ted Denny. This is my factory reference system at Synergistic Research in Southern California. And this is the inaugural beginning of my new YouTube podcast, Tune In with Ted. And I would like to introduce you to George. George, how do we know each other?
Well, we met years ago at a show, and I think you sold me some power cable.
Would that have been CES?
Could have been.
It would have had to have been CES. That was in the 90s, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Long time ago.
I would have been in my early 30s then. Yeah. And now here we are, still young and good looking. And how did we get reacquainted, George?
Well, through Adrian Alexander, a friend of mine, and
over at the Absolute Sound.
Over at Absolute Sound.
All right, well.
Through him.
Well, we're gonna listen to my stereo, right? You've already heard a few tracks on it. What do you think? What are the strong?
Sounds wonderful.
What are the strong suits?
I'd say the openness is the thing that strikes me the most. Obviously, a lot of detail with a natural sound, which is a hard combination to get.
It is because it seems like you're tilting up the treble if you're creating a large sense of space, and then it's timbrally inaccurate. And we don't have that.
No,
we don't have high frequency.
I didn't get that sense, no.
So in the system currently right now, we have Synergistic Research Foundation XL cable loom. We have interconnects going from the DAC to the preamp and from the preamp to the power amp. And then we have Foundation XL speaker cables going from the amp to the Magico M3 speakers. We're using Foundation XL power cords on the two Voodoo streamer servers, on the Macintosh or C1 1000 preamplifier, and the Foundation XL power cord going to the Berkeley reference DAC. We're going to run through the 5 songs that we used for voicing. We're obviously recording all this. We're going to high-res 2496 files, which we will make available for download so that you can hear this in your home system. Then we're going to pull out the Synergistic Research cables, and we're going to replace them with the excellent Shunyata Theta cables, same cables, the power cords going to all the same components as the Foundation XL. The speaker cables will be replaced from Foundation XL to Shunyata Theta, and the interconnects. But there will still be some Synergistic Research cables elsewhere in the system, like on the amplifiers. So we do have a home court advantage. I would recommend that everyone not base their purchase on the weight of this demonstration alone, but rather compare these two cables in your system. You may prefer the Shunyata, you may prefer the Synergistic, but you will hear what the differences are subjectively and objectively in this test. And they have a very different presentation. I think if you favor a very open, transparent, three-dimensional sound, you're probably really going to like the Synergistic Research sound, or you might like the Shunyata sound, which is quite different. But yeah, we'll make it fair. Volumes will be the same. We are not changing the gain on the microphone preamp. Well, let's see what happens. What do you think?
It sounds good.
Let's get started. That was something else, huh? What struck you on that track?
The sense that I was really in a large hall, which is very, very hard to duplicate at home.
And you hear the timpani rolling up over your head?
Yeah, that was part of that space.
Just, but also I'm hearing it coming behind me, you know, envelopment, like
Yeah,
I hear in the
as they
symphony.
say in the big hall. The
Yeah.
back of me and the front, the whole
Correct.
experience
All right.
you get in a, you know.
Guys, let's get the Shunyata Theta into the system now, please.
You know, I was talking about how the speakers disappeared before. I could tell these were coming out of the speakers, and this would come out.
Correct. Now we're going to go to Copeland Fanfare for the Common Man, Minnesota Symphony Orchestra.
Speakers really disappear in the sky. It just.
It's the best system I've ever heard in my life. And we're using Macintosh, the LSV8 of the audio amplification world.
What are these speakers in their line in the market?
Magico M3s, $90,000 speakers. I mean, as a reference tool to really unravel everything that's happening in the sound field, I find Magico to be just.
That's the way to go.
I'm off axis. Before, when I was off axis, the speakers were invisible.
They were invisible.
Now you're getting that typical stereo effect where it shifts into the speaker that you're closest to.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that's important to me, to have a walk-around soundstage. In other words, as you walk around in the listening room, it's like you're walking around at a live event, and the soundstage still stays where it is. You have a different perspective as you would walking around in a theater, but it doesn't sound like everything is moving into one small part of the theater when you move off-center. And that's what we get in this system.
And that was also evident on the Copeland as well.
Correct.
That huge.
Yeah. Last song we're going to listen to, a lot of fun, Mission Impossible. Lauren Balfe, or I don't know. It's a remix, a lot of fun, a lot of pyrotechnics in the soundstage, and then we will talk about it. How's the bass?
Tight as a drum.
Tight as a drum, and we're not using traditional room treatments. We're using black box carbons, acoustic bass resonators.
Is this where they sound best on your side by side?
We have two stacked behind the rack in the center position, equal distance between the two speakers, and then here and here. Yes, that's what sounds best in this system.
Okay.
Yeah, it absolutely lights out low frequency control.
Quite as natural and certainly not as open. Mm-hmm. Not as tight, not nearly as tight, and kind of boomy.
Yeah.
To me.
To me, that was the most dramatic.
Yeah, you really lose the line. I kept thinking, I can hear the speakers. I know that the sound is coming out of speakers. I want the other sound back with the openness and the detail and the natural sounding. But particularly that open
Just the
holographic, I think, is
the holographic layering on all axes, up, down, left, right, front to back.
really missed
Completely
that.
different.
Missed that the most on this.
Well, I'm going to say it's a different perspective. You know, maybe somebody doesn't like all that holographic realism.
Wasn't that though what we're doing in audio, is trying to get it realistic?
For me, yeah, but you know, there's a lot of guys out there that are into mono.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean,
I grew up on mono.
Different people like different things, and that's okay. You have to try synergistic research products in your system and compare them to other products you might be thinking about. I mean, case in point, we're using our $65,000 SRX power cell in this system. It has 2 SRX XL power cords going into the system, or going to the wall, and you have 20 outlets at the back, multiple isolated circuits at the back. But anyway, that was a radical departure from every prior power cell. And the first power cell that got that technology was our most affordable power cell, the ATIS-X. That machine is so expensive to build, that component, that we were able to roll all of that technology into a power conditioner that retails for $4,000, non-current limiting. And it is my belief that it can compete with or beat the most expensive power cords from our 2 top competitors. Like, not even close. So anytime somebody's considering a line conditioner, they should at least audition the PowerCell 8SX at $4,000 and compare it to something that's $10,000 or $15,000. And if you really want to spend that much money, then you buy our PowerCell 14, and it gets that much better. But at that level, we are already competing with the world's best power conditioners, and
It's not hard to get that price level either.
in audio, this is an expensive hobby.
Right.
It's a very expensive hobby. It's more expensive than like Ferraris in a lot of ways. You can easily spend $1 million putting together high-end. This system's probably around $1 million, 700,000.
It used to be that way, but it certainly is.
It didn't used to be that way, but we exist in several layers of the market, several stratas, and the extreme high end is what sells the best for us. And when we go to trade shows and we see a few companies are still doing very well. Most companies are struggling right now. They had their big year in 21 when we were all locked up and not allowed to leave home, and the government gave away hundreds of billions of dollars for free. So what did guys do? They're stuck at home, they're drinking wine, they're drinking bourbon, and they're playing with their stereos, right? So it was easy to make money, as long as you didn't shut your factory down. We never did. And we had a great year. And most other companies had a great year, unless you foolishly shut your factory down. And, but in 24, last year, we had a significantly better year than we did in 21. We are going like this. We're at the hockey stick inflection point on a curve. We had 8 of our best months going back to August 1992 in 2024. And December 2024 was the best month we'd had in something like 388 consecutive months. 300 and something months. Until January of 2025, and we beat December 2024, and we just finished out February, and February was our best month ever. So there are, I think, a few companies that are really doing extremely well. Most companies right now are not. The owners are getting older. They don't want to pull, when I got into the industry, I was 28 years old in 1992. I was the youngest guy in high-end 2-channel audio until Hales came along with Hales loudspeakers. I think his name was Mike Hales, but he was only around a few years, and then he went away, or he's doing something else with a different company. But anyway, when I got in, my competitors, at the big companies that are still around today, they were 10 years or more older than I was. They seemed like old guys to me back then. And now these guys are in their 70s, they're pushing 80. When you're that age, you don't want to pull a bunch of profit out of your company and invest it into something that may yield a sunset ROI. You want to take that 6-month around the world cruise if you've got the money to do it, right? Because the older we get, the less time we have, right? But for me, very oddly, I feel like Roy Kroc of McDonald's. He didn't really hit his stride until his 50s, right? When he got McDonald's going, and same thing with Synergistic. We are going like this. It's invigorating me personally. It's challenging me personally to move forward. And we've got nothing but great ideas. We have a handle on AI, on how we can use that to amplify our ideas and accelerate our rate of production. And we're growing extremely fast because we're meeting the needs of the marketplace better than our competitors are. That's my feeling anyway. And we spend less money advertising in 18 months than a lot of our competitors spend in a single month. So we're doing something right.
Well, that's wonderful, and particularly in a tough environment. So many companies are struggling both in and out of audio.
Honestly, I think that if you're actually innovative and making some of the best products in the world, you're doing extremely well. Ferrari is doing extremely well. Rolex is doing extremely well. Patek Philippe is doing extremely well. Pagani is doing extremely well. Ducati is doing extremely well. Wilson Audio is doing extremely well. Magico is doing extremely well. There are companies out there that are doing extremely well, but that's because they have legitimate innovation. And the men out there, and let's face it, it's 99.98% men that buy this product, they're looking around in the market and they're saying, who's really innovating? And who's just reworking a spaghetti sauce they've been making for 30 years with a slightly different garlic oregano ratio and charging ridiculous sums of money more for a product very similar, something they were making 10 years ago that was 1/3 the price, right? We are absolutely innovating. Our products are getting significantly better one generation to the next. We have more ideas than we can bring to market. Every product we bring to market, we have developed a product that we could take to market. It's just not big enough for us to bring everything to market that we'd like to. So we try to pick those products that we think will move the needle most, meet the needs of our consumers the most, and that means sales, right? If people really like what you're doing, they're buying it. And I think we're just in a very unique position right now in the market, along with a few other very, highly pivotal, highly successful companies. But I don't think the industry is getting smaller. I think it's getting bigger. You go to trade shows, more people at trade shows today than ever before. More trade shows today than ever before, and all over the world. It's, again, you just have a lot of aging companies that are no longer innovating. The principals have a fundamentally different motivation than a younger company would. And even though I'm 60, we're very much like a young company with a lot of proprietary technology that we've developed over 33 years.
We talked about earlier, that was one thing I noticed with some of your competitors. They just have stopped. When they got into the industry initially, there was a lot of innovation and head and shoulders above the competition, but they just stopped innovating.
Yeah, they have some ratio for their cable. And it seemed really cool when they came up with it. Nothing changes. It just slightly reworked, and they've got a little customer base. The other thing, a lot of my competitors, they don't innovate. We have the best line conditioners in the world. We have the best active ground conditioners in the world. We have the best streamer server in the world with the new Voodoo streamer server. We make routers. We make Ethernet switches, and we have elevated digital beyond where analog is at this point, because that's a massive advantage that we have.
That's the future.
Well, everything we've been listening to, with the exception of Fanfare for the Common Man, was streaming on Qobuz. Qobuz. And that sounds better than 90% of our records on a $100,000 turntable. There are still some records out there that are better than any digital file. But it's more because that recording is better and it never made it to digital than any inherent advantage that analog has as a format over digital. It doesn't have an inherent advantage anymore, I don't think. Not with our technology in the mix. Does this sound flat like digital? Well, it didn't with all our stuff in there anyway.
Didn't today.
No, yeah, so.
Didn't today.
Well, listen, this is the first episode of my new YouTube podcast, Tune In with Ted. I've got a YouTube studio that's just about completed at my home in Nashville, Tennessee. Currently, I'm at the factory in Southern California, and I'll be making podcasts on a weekly basis. I'll be looking at things that are being said in some of the forums. I'll be addressing some rather ridiculous claims that I see being made from time to time on various forums, so that'll be fun. We'll be comparing different synergistic research products, both in the reference system here and my system in my home, which is by no means as perfect as this room that's just purposely built. And from time to time, we will be comparing synergistic products, as we've done here, to very fine products from some of our most esteemed competitors. And we are at no point in time trying to say that our products are better than anyone else's, but they're very different. And the only way you can determine whether or not that difference is right for you is to listen to synergistic research products in your home system and make up your own mind. So I want to thank you for visiting and listening to my first podcast, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.